I've often wondered that myself. I've zoomed it up to see, and I can't quite figure it out. We need to ask him.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah.
like a lava waterfall.
Hmm. Okay.
One time I thought it might be a missile launch or something. I couldn't tell.
Let's
Let
liven
everybody
this
come
thing up.
in. We'll get started momentarily.
I think Alyssa's right. I think that is what it is. I think that is a waterfall.
With an orange waterfall?
Lava.
Ah, magma.
Don't
Could
drink the
be.
water.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Oh,
we
where
are.
is Ron? Unmute Ron. What is that?
There we go. Okay. That is lava coming right out of the Big Island. It was quite a few years ago. It was when it's really active. That lava is incredible. It's about, I would say, 50 to 100 yards wide. And I was on a ship. And it was coming right out of the hillside of the Big Island, going right into the water. And the steam and everything else was literally blowing up into the air. It was an incredible journey.
Very
Wow,
interesting.
man.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks
I
for
mean
Awesome.
that they called it the fire hose, and it as I said, it was unbelievable, and it would change shapes every once in a while, but the water temperature in that area was about 120 to 150 degrees, and we weren't that far from it. So
So
yeah,
that was the water temperature where the boat was?
yes.
Very cool. We better get started, guys. Thank you for bringing us up to speed
Yeah,
there.
thanks, Ron.
It's 5 after. So Alyssa, please turn on the recording.
You got it.
Welcome to our incomparable agents and investors nationwide. Today is Thursday, November 30th, 2023. Missed y'all. I was not here the last couple of weeks. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. This is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 456. Bruce, I don't have anything, but I was going to make a special request of you. One of our team members, Gabby, and I have been doing a campaign to recruit kind of realtors, social media influencers. And I think there's a few of them on the call today, and they probably have no idea what we do or how we do it. So if you would kind of start with that. Oh, there's my phone. Sorry. If you would start with that, and those of you that are here every week, good time to go refill your coffee. If you just
No, if you're here every
explanation.
week, you guys can listen for a second. So basically start with who's all the leads, what are we doing on this call? What kind of things we offer? Is that what you're asking for, Jim?
Please.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Good, perfect. All right. So my name's Bruce. I'm a probate trainer and coach. We've got other coaches on this call as well. All the leads is a kind of starts as a lead and a data provider, a little bit more specifically in the probate niche. However, I want you guys to think of just life transitions. Probate seems to be the one that is most popular, and we spend about 95% of our time talking about life transitions through probate and inherited property. But there's pre-probate, there's divorce, there's other data sets that are coming soon, but all the leads is primarily based on the life transition model, providing agents and investors that data to be able to prospect and market to. Now, data is only data. If that was all ATL provided, then it would be valuable. But ATL, we go beyond that and to providing a lead management system, new CRM tool coming at some point soon. There's direct mail marketing that can be done for you. There's letter templates, postcard templates, brochure templates, door hangers, pretty much anything print related that you can think of, but very heavily specific toward the probate niche is what is heavily already built out for the subscribers that get probate leads. websites, specifically credibility websites. So if you're marketing to people in the probate niche, the last thing you want to do is send them to a website that says, I help first-time home buyers. You want to send them to something that shows that you are an expert in the field. So there's credibility websites, social media marketing with a probate or life transitions angle around it. Coaching, we've got Ken on here, who's the ATL coach that handles free monthly coaching calls for the subscribers. I have a program called Probate Mastery that is a certification course and program that teaches, kind of goes deep into everything probate. There's just so many different things that ATL does beyond just provide data. Now, the data that ATL provides is top notch. You can get tons of the heirs involved in each estate, the personal representative, the decedent's address, the personal representative address, phone numbers, emails, all those different things, lots of good data that you can use to go after. And then we teach you how not to be a jerk when you make your phone call. So how not to say, hey, sorry, your husband died. Let's sell that house, because that is not the way that you go about it. So we want to once you get your data and you have all your marketing and your system set up and on autopilot for you, we want to teach you how to be empathetic and come off as sincere and create some value around what you're offering. Okay, so that's all the leads in a nutshell. What?
We changed our approach. I thought that was the right way. You call him up.
Yeah. It's just
Billy
like
Bob died with the story on his house.
Yeah, just like my old agent in my brokerage that walked in. He was all proud and happy, and he walked in the door and he said, I've been out door knocking today. And we said, where'd you go? He said, I walked across the street to my neighbor's house. She was having the wake for her husband, and everyone was at the house and they were having dinner. And I thought, I got a captive audience. And he knocked on the door and he shoved his card in her face and said, guess you're gonna be needing me soon, aren't you? And I was just completely floored. Now, I know no one here would ever think of doing that. I hope no one on this call would ever think of doing that, but that's the opposite of what you want to do.
That's perfect, Bruce. And I was going to say also to the people that we invited that I referenced, obviously our goal is to get them on board as a potential affiliate, but most of them have 50, 100,000 plus followers. So if any of you want to chime in how you got there, I'm sure our realtors would be interested in how you expand your social media influence to that degree. So we appreciate you guys being here, and that was a great explanation.
By the way, this call, for those of you that are new here and you're wondering what this call is, this is sort of a mastermind call, a coaching call. It's basically for subscribers and non-subscribers alike to chime in with their life transition based questions. Again, very, very heavily on probate. It does not have to be probate though. Myself and Ken and Joe Lehman, who's here, independently, there's 3 coaches right here at the top of my Zoom screen who've been coaches and trainers for a long time. And we're here to make sure that your questions are answered. If you run into situations and your probate transactions that you're not sure how to handle, ask those questions, raise your hand. If you're on YouTube or Facebook Live, the live stream, you can chat your questions in. We'll answer those. If you have a win or success story or just want to know how to get started in the niche, we're here to help you with that. So this is kind of a live interactive Q&A call. So if you're here on Zoom, raise your hand to ask your questions. If you're not on Zoom live with us, you can chat your question in under whatever live stream you're watching. And this could also be a podcast later or a YouTube video later that you can ask your questions on those channels as well. All right. Anybody else? Tim, Jim, Ken?
I've got some stuff to start with, and then I'll flip it to you guys. So today is for all of you who are potentially on here for the first time, or who are, been with us for a while and kind of watch what we do and been thinking this is a good time to maybe consider it. And I want to make sure that I'm ready to rock and roll for next year. Once a year, we do something we've always referred to as Green Friday. And today literally is the last day of that sale. We don't, this call is never, ever intended to be a big commercial for what we do. We do this to offer value, and sometimes we go, you know, an hour and a half and talk about nothing but a particular issue, and all of the things that we do as a company are, you know, in support of that, but we know that you're there, and we try to demonstrate by example that we're here to help you. However, once a year, we make a big pitch, and that's kind of just our pledge drive, if you will. And our Green Friday sale is coming to an end. Today's the last day. It is the best kind of deals that we offer in the course of a year. We offer pretty significant discounts on most of the things that we do one time of the year, and we do it now so that you can prepare during the month of December, and your leads will hit, and you kind of get started so that you hit the ground running for January. And we give you the opportunity to see all the great things that we do to help you get that thing started. So if you're interested in doing that, this is a great time to consider doing that. The other thing that I would tell you is that it is also a great time for you guys that have been with us for a while and, you know, normally use us for a lot of things that you use. It's time to get, you're going to run out of time if you haven't already done it. We've already fulfilled a lot of it, but you need to get your Christmas cards ordered, and we do that as well. As Bruce said, we're a full service print shop, and certainly that's one of the things that we do. To access any of those things that I just talked about, you know, you can call us at 844-532-3369. One of our friendly folks will be happy to talk with you about any of those things that you want to talk about, or just hop online and come look at us, and we'll be happy to do that. And it's alltheleads.com. But it's Green Friday sale and order your Christmas cards time. And with that, I will kick it back.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the Christmas cards, I mean, if you're the first one that sends a Christmas card, that's really going to stand out to those people, right? I mean, if you send it right at Christmas time and they get 3 or 4 other cards, it doesn't stand out quite as much. So I would say be early rather than late. So yeah, you definitely want to get your Christmas cards ordered. And then for myself, just because I'm excited for me, I got a couple wins. So I got a new listing I picked up last week. I got another lady I'm in very, very close contact with. I've been to both of her, 2 out of the 3 properties that she inherited. Her probate court is this Friday. So the plan is to get together, next week, get those other 2 properties listed. And so I was going through a teeny bit of a slump, but I got my one property under contract. Didn't think that was ever going to happen because I had very difficult clients. So, things are rocking and rolling. As we discussed at the end of the year, it's the great time to keep going and keep, persisting and making those calls. And while other people are slacking, you come in and pick up business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Good. Thanks, Ken. Ron has his hand up. We talked about the lava waterfall just before the recording started. Ron, go ahead and unmute yourself. What can we do for you today?
Yeah, question on your training. You've got free training, but more interested in the probate principles and practices and probate mastery.
Yep.
Now, do you need to take both, or should we take both, or does probate mastery include the probate principles and practices?
Yes, probate mastery includes principles and practices. So principles and practices is going to be a tiny bit lower level. It's really good, but it's mainly for the person that wants to dip their toe in the water of education. And once you're in mastery, you get everything that principles and practices taught.
Okay, but the principle about the probate mastery does include the principles and practices, right?
Yeah, it does. Principles and practices really isn't needed when you take probate mastery because the same topics at a deeper level are covered.
Okay.
But yes, it will come with principles and practices as well.
And Bruce, point out the fact that talk about the pricing issues and all of that, but the other value of mastery that I think is critically important is that mastery also gives you the opportunity to become certified and use the tag with it. So you might want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so mastery, anyone that takes probate mastery, as a lot of people know, I acquired probate mastery a few months ago. It's currently the version that was taught and packaged by Chad Corbett. Absolutely amazing course and program, and it's on demand. You can take it at your own pace. It's filled with quizzes and templates and all kinds of really good things and extremely high level. One of the things that I'm working on actively, and I hope to have done soon, is a re-recording of mastery, broken out into beginner, intermediate, and advanced techniques when it comes to prospecting, beginner, intermediate, and advanced techniques when it comes to digital presence, mail, team building, attorney relationships, so much more. So it kind of it takes you where you are. If you're a complete newbie at making a phone call, you're gonna be able to learn beginner, entry level scripts, dialogue, techniques, things like that. If you're advanced, you're going to be able to jump into the advanced portion of it as well. And so as of today, it's about 15 hours long. And at the end of it, you get your certified probate expert designation. Everyone always asks, and I'm going to go ahead and point to the elephant in the room. Everyone always asks, is that NAR recognized? No, it's not NAR sponsored or recognized. As a matter of fact, they wanted the program to be stripped down and become much shorter, and just would simply not be as valuable to you guys based on what they were looking for at the time that was discussed with them. So it's not recognized by them, but you can use it in your marketing. A lot of attorneys, a lot of industry experts do recognize the certified probate expert designation. Now, once I'm done with my recordings, it's probably going to be a 20+ hour course. And again, you guys are going to be able to take beginner, intermediate, or advanced level sections of each different topic that's taught in there, so that you don't feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, which is the exact opposite of what I want you guys to feel like. If I've done my job properly as a trainer, you guys should leave training, leave today's call, leave mastery, whatever it is that you're involved with, and go, if Bruce can do it, I can do it. I never want to be the person that you leave and go, wow, that guy is an expert. He's a phenomenal communicator, and I could never achieve that. I'd like you guys to be able to say, if that idiot can do this, so can I. Okay, and that's what we're working toward.
Absolutely.
I have a question then. Should we wait for your class to be
No,
done?
nope. I would take both. Anyone that has mastery is going to get the new version. And I don't want to promise a deadline. I was really hoping that it would just be a few weeks, and that was a few weeks ago. I'm recording, and like anything that I do, I usually record and I'll look at it and say, okay, how can I make this better? So I'm going through a second iteration of the recordings of my version. I think that what you get with Chad's version of Probate Mastery is going to approach it from a slightly different angle from mine, very slightly. There's going to be a lot of crossover, but I think it would be beneficial to hear how two different people approach probate. So I would tackle the Chad Corbett version of Mastery first. And then in a couple of weeks, you'll have my version. You'll be able to compare notes and see, okay, well, Chad said do it this way. Bruce says do it this way. Let me figure out which one is the best fit for me, my personality, and my business.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
But I would also say get into action, though. I mean, obviously, we're a big fan of training. You know, you want to learn techniques, you want to improve your skills, but also get on the court. I tell my probate coaching students, like, think of Michael Jordan. Now, if he studied till he was 45 and then he knew everything about basketball, he knew every play, he knew every, game, studied the sport, and he starts playing at 45, he probably wouldn't be Michael Jordan. So if you study and play and study and play and study and play, then you maybe become Michael Jordan of probate.
Mm-hmm.
You become very, very good at it. So study, but get on the court and take action, and then hone your skills as you go. Sharpen your axe, as they say.
Go screw up. There's no greater educator than you screwing up. Okay.
Well, get out of your head. I mean, there's no real fear. There's no real danger that anything bad is going to happen to you. And again, unlike Bruce's friend or colleague that went over to the next door neighbors and started handing out his cards at the wake, we teach you how to approach these calls in such a way where you're going to get minimum amount of resistance. So you're going to get way more people that actually want to talk to you and that feel like you're calling out of empathy and respect. Unlike being a knucklehead and doing something completely inappropriate. I mean, we're going to teach you how to do that properly.
Exactly.
Learn more about all of the things that we offer from a training standpoint. Go to alltheleads.com/training, and it details all of the courses. We include one course that's absolutely free, and then the two that Bruce just went over are there. Obviously, as a subscriber, you're able to acquire those at a discount, and that's part of our program. But if you're not a subscriber, you can certainly acquire them and use our link to go do that. And we recommend that you do it. And Bruce will certainly handle it on his end of the game. And we believe in the training side of it. We think Bruce is great at doing that. And just as we believe in Ken's ability to do the good coaching, doing this on your own and figuring it out is good. And you got to break some eggs and all of that. But having the best possible teachers to teach you as much as they can is vitally important to being successful. So everybody needs a coach and a trainer.
Yep. Learn from other people's wins and mistakes, but also go make some of your own.
Indeed.
And Joe asked if you've taken Probate Mastery in the past, can you still take the online version? The answer is yes. And I want everyone who is a subscriber of All the Leads, if you do buy Probate Mastery, buy it at All the Leads. You get a discount by buying through All the Leads on the training page that Tim just mentioned. So if you want to give me extra money, you can come to probatemastery.com. But if you're a subscriber, you need to go through All the Leads and get that discount.
What Bruce said.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of training, while we're waiting on some other questions and things to come in, and again, please remember, if you're on Zoom right now, go to the bottom of your screen and click the reactions button. If you don't see the reactions button, click more, and there's going to be a reactions button. Raise your hand. We'll call on you for your live question. You can chat questions in on chat. If you're on live stream, Facebook or YouTube, you can chat your question in under the video. We want to answer your questions. This call is full of me, Tim, Jim, and Ken rambling if you don't ask your questions or share your wins. And I like rambling, but I don't think you guys like me rambling that much. Now, while I'm waiting, we did just have a mastery roleplay call just before this Zoom. And one of the things that came up on that roleplay call was the topic of empathy. We try to throw out some realistic, random responses on our role plays. And I think the example that we used in role play a little bit ago was the prospect that had received the call said, "Hey, no, I don't need anything other than the fact that I'm just missing my wife." Okay. And that really, really threw a wrench into the call. And the caller was just like, how do I express empathy while still moving on into what I need to talk about? And I gave permission there and talked about how sometimes not knowing what to say is perfectly fine. Saying, "Oh my gosh, I really have no idea what to say. I'm so sorry." That's fine. And we also talked about how while it feels icky, role playing how to express empathy and handle when someone is devastated and has taken a loss. While it does feel icky to think that you need to role play that and practice it, it's needed. Because the last thing you want to do is come off to that person like you're just trying to move past that pain that they're having. You need to learn how to role play it. You need to learn how to respond. And if that requires some practice, do the practice. Learn how to express empathy and come across as sincere. So often we are ill-equipped to deal with people who have lost a loved one. And we need to equip ourselves to deal with someone who is grieving. Whether it's in your personal life, whether it's a close friend of yours, an acquaintance of yours, or someone that you've just cold called. You need to know how to express empathy and come across as sincere. Joe, go ahead. You've got your hand up. Unmute yourself.
Expressing empathy is much easier if you really believe this is a mission, that it's a Christian mission that you're on to help people at a time when many of them are having a very rough experience in life. And when you come from that belief and faith, it will happen naturally that you have empathy for their situation, and your reactions to what they say to you will be real, and you'll be able to develop relationships that will work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of times people get scared when that real emotion, when the door opens up, and actually that's the opportunity, you know. And sometimes it's a little much. And one of the coaching students said that a woman opened up and said, you know, her husband committed suicide. And I'm like, wow, that's heavy. But at the same time, when the door opened up, she's basically telling you that she needs somebody to talk to. She needs somebody to listen to her and someone to care about her. And just like why I wanted to join all the leads, because I feel like these coaches are so genuine in wanting to help people. And every time I talk to a coaching student, I've talked to Bruce, I know like he really wants to help people. When you're there to help the people that are opening up to you, that is, you know, it takes a little patience and a little, you know, you have to really care, but that is the opportunity, because they are opening themselves up to you, trusting that you're going to be the right person to not only help them with the property needs, but also with the emotional struggles that they might be facing. But I would say, to a large extent, if you're not willing to deal with those type of situations, you know, probate could be more challenging. I mean, there's certainly situations where somebody answers the phone and they go, that person wasn't that close to me, and the property's in a trust and we just want to liquidate it. There's still deals to be had that don't come with that emotional floodgate that could be open. But, you know, if somebody's able to compartmentalize you as just a salesperson, then they're easily going to replace you. But when you are both a great outlet to sell the property, but also somebody who's compassionate and is going to listen to them, then you've got a solid person that is going to be a client.
Yep.
So when that floodgate opens, be ready to, you know, receive what they're saying and be there for them.
It's I've personally dealt with a lot of agents and investors that come in, and we teach them to be an advocate and a service provider for the entire probate process. And they say, Bruce, I don't really care what that person is going through. I just want to buy the house, or I don't really care. I just want to list the house. And I can't control what someone's intentions and motives and lack of empathy really is. But I can tell you that if that's you, you're going to struggle. If that's not you, if you really care about people, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to them to practice and learn how to express empathy properly, because it's not something that comes naturally to a lot of people. It doesn't come naturally to me. I like to avoid pain and I like to avoid topics of pain. It doesn't mean that I don't care, and it doesn't mean that you don't care if you struggle with expressing empathy, but you owe it to yourself to go learn how to express empathy, even if it requires practice and the bad word of some acting. Please don't express empathy if you don't feel it, but learn how to properly express it. And there's a lot of learning here. By the way, we do have a ton of chatted in questions that I am going to get to, I want everyone to know that we see your questions coming in. I really appreciate it. Slight priority is going to be given to those that are on Zoom with their hands raised. So right now that's going to be Matt Harris, whose hand, by the way, blends in really well with the background on his Zoom window. Matt, what's up?
Hey there, Bruce. Appreciate the opportunity to ask you a question here. You mentioned the role playing. What can you tell us about that? How do we get involved in that? I don't recall seeing anything about the role playing.
Yeah, role playing is a part of Probate Mastery, specifically the interactive version. So there's two versions of Probate Mastery. There's the certification program. It's just on demand. You take it at your own pace. It's pre-built video and written dialogues and different things like that. Interactive is for anyone that wants live interaction with me. Interactive's $59 a month. And you get a bi-weekly role play, you get a weekly workshop, and you get weekly office hours where you can access me for coaching questions and things like that. All right, and you can get that once you're into the Probate Mastery program. So if you're not in there, jump over and get it through ATL, and then you'll have an opportunity to get into interactive. All right, any other questions? You good? All right, let's go to Salim. Go ahead and unmute yourself. And then I'm going to answer. I've got a couple of other hands up. Then we're going to answer a few of the chatted questions.
Great. All right, Bruce, Salim here. So my question is, I did take the Probate Mastery with Chad back in 2019.
Okay.
And, we... the market completely changed with COVID. So, now we're kind of re-entering that whole arena. And I wanted to know if I wanted to review the course, what is the possibility of doing that online? Is there a fee involved? What can I do to kind of repeat it?
Yeah, not at all. You should still have a login at probatemastery.com or email support@probatemastery.com. There's still a record of you taking it, and we can get you back in there if you don't have your login.
Got it. Okay, so just go in and I can just start the online. There's no set rule to when I can just log in and start it, basically.
Yep, exactly. And if you can't find your login, then email support@probatemastery.com. All the leads, so support at all the leads or chatting all the leads, they can certainly direct you if you're having an issue. But if you're already a subscriber, then support@probatemastery.com is going to be a little easier to get a quick direct access.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So Caitlin had asked, and this is a question that pops up sometimes, especially for those on a budget. And I want to give those of you that are on a bit of a budget and buying leads that are pre-scrubbed, pre-screened, that have all your heirs and skip trace phone numbers and things. That is the best way to go about getting leads. It's the most accurate way. However, we totally recognize that sometimes that's just not in the short-term budget. So one of the things that I always encourage everyone to do, even if you're buying leads, is learn the probate process at the courthouse. So you should really understand the probate process at the courthouse. Go talk to the county clerk. Find out what the probate application looks like, find out where the records are stored. You are not normally going to have phone numbers and email addresses and addresses for the people that you need to communicate with, but you can go to the courthouse and get the probate records. And I think that it's important that everyone at least one time know what that looks like. You are then going to need to go find a skip tracing service and try to find phone numbers for the personal representative, or maybe the skip tracing service might be able to provide an address for the decedent. I would do that. It's definitely a time cost versus a financial cost, but it is at least it's not it's helping you get in without spending money that you don't have. After that, you need to start making phone calls. You need to start sending some mailers out. Not everyone is going to call and go, "Hey, I just lost my loved one. I'm so glad that you, a stranger, just gave me a random call." So if they respond to you in a resistance type of pattern or response, it doesn't mean anything bad. It's just natural. They don't know you. You have no rapport. You need to build rapport. And one of those areas of building rapport is making sure that when they hear your name, if they're at all interested in the future in what service you're providing, that they can check you out. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the call, if they go Google you and it says, "I'm Caitlin, I help first-time home buyers," and that's the only thing that they can find about you, you're not going to come across as credible as someone that can help through a life transition like an inheritance or probate. So you need to have some probate or inheritance or estate-related content online that's easily found. I like to point people to my online resources through my direct mail. But whatever you do, also make phone calls. So many people try to take the easy way out. And the easy way is, I'm just going to send some letters and have an online presence, which is great. And you need those things badly. Those standing alone probably get a fifth of the response that mixing phone into your campaign is going to get. And I just made a fifth up. I don't have data on that, but I know the phone is very important. You need to do all three. You could also build attorney relationships, which we encourage everyone to do. Attorney relationships are you already have social proof and someone's already been told to talk to you. So you need to be working with attorneys to get those relationships as well. That's free business. It's a little bit harder to get an attorney to trust you and refer you, but not impossible. Once you've got them in your corner, they are in your corner and they're good for many pieces of business every year, and in some cases every month. All right. So
Bruce, you also answered Letitia's question. Letitia said she'd been a registered nurse for 15 years. She's got a lot of empathy. That's why she got into real estate. But she wanted to know where she could get the leads. I just want to make it clear to her that she could do everything you just said, or she could just contact us. We can get them for her. So she didn't say it's on a budget. Just go to support@alltheleads.com and somebody will call you back and give you info on your county.
Yeah, and guys, I'd like to interject. I mean, skip tracing leads and gathering them from the courthouse and all that stuff. I mean, that takes a lot of time. I mean, if you're a person that wants to plan, and get it in your own way, in my estimation, and I've seen it in myself, so I'm not calling you out. I've seen it in myself. You find something else to do rather than doing the real work that moves the needle, which is picking up the phone and getting on the line with people. I mean, we even talked about AI a couple of weeks ago. Now, AI is just a more efficient funnel to getting that person on the phone with you, but it's all going to wind up on the phone or interacting with that person in person. So if you're not a good communicator, if you're afraid to get on the phone, that is 100% what you need to do. They say the treasure is in the cave that you fear to go into. So, people want to have AI, they're going to have this massive funnel, but eventually you got to pick up the phone and talk to that person and actually be able to convert them. So I would say, buy the leads, because time is money. That expression's been around for forever, because it is certainly true. Picking up the phone and making a human-to-human connection should be very easy. The technology of skip tracing and putting the leads together, that's kind of complicated. It can be done, and it can be done maybe at a less of a cost, but the most direct way to get a sale is to get on the phone, build that rapport, build a friend with the person, and then show them how you can solve their problems. Avoid all the pitfalls of looking in 20 different directions for the shiny object, and go right to where the treasure lies and the person you can help. Is my opinion.
Exactly. So everybody, as anyone going into business, you're normally going to invest more time up front. So we understand the idea of getting into business and you don't have deep pockets all the time. A lot of people think that they have to have a year's worth of income saved in the bank to start in real estate. And if you're doing the right things, that simply isn't true. It helps. Okay. But if you're doing the right things, it isn't true. But as you're new, we understand there's things that you're going to invest more time in the beginning than money, but eventually you need to flip-flop that and start investing less time, leverage your time with money. And as long as you have your system down and you know how to close deals. Now, it's not good to spend money when you have no idea how to close a deal. So there's a balance there. And I would just kind of jump on top of what Ken just said and spend the money if you can, because it will save you a lot of effort in the long run. And that's effort that you can put into prospecting. And if you're putting that effort into prospecting, you're going to have a high likelihood of success, especially if you don't say, hey, sorry, your husband died. Let's get that house sold. All right. Let's go to Rick. Rick, I saw your question come through chat. I was about to answer it, but I see your hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Rick's got all three of his hands up there with your logo. Yeah, I like that.
Now I gotta figure out how to put it down. Can you hear me okay?
I got you.
All right. Yeah, so my question was, I've been doing this for 2 months now. Got two batches of leads in. Thank you. All the support's been fantastic. And with, I think it was Lizzie or somebody there, just, on staff there, just help me get websites and letters and everything set up. What I'm finding that as I'm making the calls, and even this second batch of letters that went out here recently, I got 4 calls just from the letters. But everybody was like, why are you sending me a letter? I'm not selling anything. I don't have any property, so I'm really confused. And one person was like, well, I had to call my attorney to find out why I'm getting a letter from you. And I had to go back and read the letter, see what I sent them. But I guess, and the most of the people that I'm calling is like the majority of them are not selling, either just one of the spouses passed away. And then, so I want to be empathetic, and I want to be like, hey, I'm not really sure if I'm the right person here. Probate court here had your name listed as personal representative for decedent, not sure if my call is relevant, and then kind of going into the just offering probate help. Well, at what point is it okay to just get down to it and say, do you have a house? Are you planning on selling your house? Just so you can know you're not continuing to mail to them every month, and if they don't need that service.
Yep.
That's the proper way, empathetic way to do that.
Really good. So I'll tackle the phone calls that you've gotten on your letters first. In the early days, your letters are establishing a brand, right? And I know that there's there are some people that have examples that show that in the early days, sometimes people call and say, I got your letter, I want to list my house. Those are certain markets. In a lot of markets, your letters in the early months are establishing a brand while people are getting other affairs in order. So for you to receive a call on your first letter or two from 4 people saying, hey, I'm not sure why you're sending this, I don't have a house to sell, they're doing you a huge favor. Okay. You're just being able to scrub that cost out of your campaign. I personally, with letters that I send, I don't typically start getting responses on selling property until around month 4 or month 5. That's where my mail will produce responses on selling property. And a lot of times I've started a phone dialogue with that same person as well. So I will have, at that point, will have been calling and started a phone dialogue with them. And so they may not call on the letter, or if they do call on the letter is a support to the service that I already offered when we had a conversation. So it warms it up. It makes me more familiar to them. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the initial early campaign letters producing people that say, hey, I'm not sure why I got this. I'm not going to sell, or I don't have a house. That you just scrubbed that expense off of your campaign, and they should start producing more later. Now, over to the phone calls. I think that there's 3 different kinds of phone calls that you can have, and I'll just touch on them very, very briefly. The first type is if you're new to prospecting, is you want to call and say, hey, you know, this is out of the blue. I'm not selling anything. Could I take a quick second to tell you what this was about? Yes, this is about the estate of Jane Doe. I have a service for families going through probate. The only thing that I wanted to call about today was to offer to send you some information so that you'd have it as you moved through probate, and you could call me if you ever needed anything. Is that fair? Yes. Let me get your email. All right. Get permission to email them or to send them information, and then you back into the real estate. If you have another 30, 60 seconds, could I ask you another question or two? Is there real estate involved? Are you thinking about selling? What's your time frame? Do you have an attorney? You might pop up a couple of questions to identify where they are, and might turn into an appointment. So that's kind of a beginner level call. An intermediate level call is straight to the real estate, calling about the estate of 123 Main Street, or of Jane Doe. It looks like that estate has 123 Main Street. Is that a property that was owned by your relative? Yes. Have you guys been thinking about selling it? It can come across as a little bit pushy to some people. So it depends on your personality. Rick, based on your tone of voice that you just gave me a little bit ago, I'm going to say that that's probably not going to, just based on coaching and seeing people that it works for, I'm going to say that's probably not going to be your style. Some people are bold and not confrontational, bold and aggressive and assertive. Okay. And if that's you, that may be your style. Just go straight after the real estate. Ask them if they're selling the house, and then know how to respond to the 5 different responses they're going to give. We're not selling, no real estate. We already sold. Yes, we're selling. We don't know. All right. So you just have to remember how to respond to those 5 different reactions that they may give you. I prefer calling and offering a concierge service and guiding them through the call. It definitely takes a much higher level of conversational skill, but guiding them through the call with the right questions. And after they've turned down the services that I've offered, because they will turn it down. They do not know you. They're not rejecting you. They're not saying they're not going to sell. They just don't know you. So why would they not be resistant? They've got a lot of stuff to deal with. So validate their resistance, and then on the way off of the phone, pull a Columbo and say, hey, you know, I know you probably aren't needing anything right now. I'll shoot you that information that I promised. Just before we jump off, could I ask, is there real estate involved in the estate? And if so, is that something the family is going to hold on to or think about selling? So when I prospect, that's my preference. I feed them a concierge service and I expect them to say, no, I don't need it. I know that when they say that, they're speaking from a place of ignorance. They do need what I offer. They just don't know that they need what I offer. Right. So I'm not going to correct them on their rejection in the beginning. I'm going to use that rejection as a chance to build some rapport. I completely understand. It sounds like really there's nothing that you were looking for today. Yeah, that's right. Why don't I shoot you some information? If anything changes, you can call me. Okay, good. What's an email address? Get the email. Real quick, before we jump off, can I ask, does the estate have any real estate in it? That's the style that I like to use. It absolutely requires a higher level of conversational skill, but it's not impossible. It really builds rapport. So those are the 3 types of calls that you can make. Recognize that resistance is not rejection. Resistance is coming from a place of ignorance on their part. And you never want to attack their ignorance. I've heard a lot of people attack their ignorance, and you're killing any possibility of a relationship in the future when you try to correct them right on the spot and tell them why they're wrong. They don't want to hear they're wrong. They want to be understood and accepted. And that'll give you the room to back into your real estate question. Okay. Hopefully that helps, Rick. And you are on mute. If you have any follow-up questions, go ahead and unmute yourself. By the way, you had asked, you said a lot of people that you do get on the phone, and this was chatted, don't have real estate. Just as a general rule of thumb, I want everyone here to understand somewhere between 40 and maybe 55% of your leads do have real estate that will sell. It's going to be more like 70, 75, potentially 80% that have real estate, but close to 50% have real estate that is going to sell. So recognize that if you get a couple of people that say no real estate, or we're not selling, it doesn't mean anything, especially the surviving spouses, because guess who's going to be in their ear talking to them about moving closer to family in a year? Many of them are going to sell, even if they don't have initial plans on it.
Well, that Prospects Plus also helps scrub those leads further. So if you are making calls or you want to have a higher probability of hitting the mark, Properties Plus will help scrub those leads. Again, time versus money. When I first started buying these leads and calling people, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make money, so I don't want to get all the bells and whistles. But now that I'm very confident I will make money, now I'm like, okay, let's add the extra bells and whistles on. As far as the letters though, Rick, that people are calling you, that tells you that you're in a very good market, that that you're going to get a response from your letters. Because if they're getting letters from 10 other people, then they're probably not going to call anybody, because it's just going to be too much work. But if they're like only getting letters from you, that then they're going to call you. But just the fact that you're getting that kind of reaction, that is fantastic. And I like to say the letters are like making you Coke or Pepsi. So you need social proof, but you send the letters, you have the probate website, hopefully you have some reviews, or you're building some reviews online. And just the like Bruce said, the brand recognition, but now you're looking like the complete package. You're sending them the probate checklist, so essentially you're building a mental funnel for them. Every time they're thinking probate, they're like, oh, he just sent me a letter. Oh, he's got the website. Oh, social media is there, or social media, or reviews, and you're funneling them to you as the probate specialist and the go-to person in your area. But the letters, that's fantastic. I mean,
yeah,
that's a great response. I'd be very excited about that.
I love, even if all 4 said we're not selling, I love that 4 people called you. That's amazing. Good. All right. Crystal chatted in, and I've got a couple of other hands up. We're going to get to you guys in a second. So Crystal chatted in that you're not understanding the process of bringing a customer through the probate process. Recognize that that's the offer that you're making them, and you need to be able to help them and guide them through the process. Most people aren't going to call and say, hey, will you help me walk through this process? That happens extremely rarely, very rarely. So if you do get a call and someone says, hey, I don't need help with the whole process, but I need to value the art collection that my mom has or had, and you don't have an art collector or an art appraiser, guess who you can go find? You can go find a collector or an appraiser. If somebody calls and says, hey, I need help getting an attorney, and you don't have an attorney, guess who you can go find? So I want you to recognize that you don't have to be an expert at getting through the process. You just need to know how to connect dots and help someone find something. Because normally if they're asking for one of those services or they're asking for help, it's primarily because they have so much on their plate and they're a little bit overwhelmed and they're stuck in their grief. It's not that they couldn't find what they're needing. It's that they're just sort of stuck in their grief or stuck in the process, and you can go find what they are looking for. It is going to be quite rare that they call and they ask you for those things. It's usually going to be a real estate forward conversation that you have. Okay. And then you might find some things when you get to the house and you build a relationship with them. You might find a few other things that you can take off of their plate. It's normally after the relationship and the face-to-face is had that they do accept that outside help from you. You and Crystal had also asked about examples of expressing empathy. So here's the biggie with empathy. Don't languish and linger on it forever. So a lot of people say, oh, I am so sorry to hear about your loss. And that's fine. If you sound sincere, that's fine. Me, an example is I like to react the same way I would if a casual friend, if I found out a casual friend's family had died. So the example I used on a role play a little bit ago is I called someone that I hadn't talked to for a couple of years, and they said, yeah, I don't know if you heard, but I actually just lost my wife. And I went, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to say. I'm so sorry. Is this just the worst time for a call, or should I kind of tell you what I was calling about? All right. And that comes across as sincere, but still gives you a path to get back into the purpose for your call. A lot of people aren't going to be responding to you that way, though. They're not going to go, oh, this is just the worst time ever. They're usually going to be in work mode and business mode, and so they're gonna ask, hey, what was this about? You're not going to have to spend a lot of time on empathy, but if you do need to spend a little time on empathy, sound sincere. It's okay to not have perfect responses. The less perfect it is, sometimes the better, the more sincere it sounds. If you go, I'm so sorry for your loss, let me tell you why I was calling, that doesn't sound sincere at all. So sound sincere, stumble a little bit if you need to, or if that's natural, stumble a little bit. It's totally fine.
Yep.
So let's go to Sean. Sean, go ahead and unmute yourself.
All right, thank you very much. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I had some questions. I've been dealing with special administrators, and I've been having some trouble. I just wanted to see what experience you guys have had. A lot of these cases that I'm dealing with, they are in pre-foreclosure, and there is no heir in the wills. Therefore, I'm dealing with the special administrators. In one specific case, special administrator, I'm looking to get a deal done. I'm paying off the lien that's there, but the special administrator has gotten me directly in touch with the lender. Now, the lender is the one who seems to be calling the shots, and I thought the special administrator was the one who had the authority to accept an offer, reject an offer, etc. He's passing the buck on to the special administrator. I'm sorry, to the lender, and the lender has some demands that I didn't think that were very fair. I'm happy to go over them, but I think the general question is, who has authority to make the decisions as far as accepting, countering, etc. in that situation?
Is it upside down?
No, it's not. There's equity in the property.
It should be the special administrator then. Is the lender traditional, or is the lender like hard money, or are there special clauses?
It's an FHA loan. It's a local bank.
Oh,
yeah. So
I want some other experienced agents, investors, coaches to chime in here if you have it. I know Roger is probably going to have some thoughts on this, but I don't see why this would be the lender's decision if you're offering more than the loan amount. And now, if the loan is past due and it's accruing penalties and interest, then I could see the lender being involved. But if there's equity, then it should be the special administrator's responsibility to accept. And if they pull anybody in, it should be the court, should be the magistrate or the judge.
Yeah, the court will have to be pulled in. It has to be court approved. We have to go through that process. And the main terms that I'm not comfortable with is the special administrator. He's happy to accept the offer as is. He said, look, I've spoken with the lender, and I got directly in touch with the lender to try to get to the bottom of this, because I have done deals in the past through special administrators who just take the horse by the reins and they make all the decisions, and it's not even up to the bank really. As long as the loan's being paid off, the bank's not even involved.
Mhm.
But this one's different. Now the bank's requiring that. Let's see, I'm purchasing the home for $300,000. The bank wants a $7,500 non-refundable deposit. And I mean, I asked the lender, I said, that's a little higher than I'm standardly giving, especially given the fact that it still needs to go through court approval. Then we need to go through an escrow, could be months with that amount of money tied up. And then I asked, well, what if for whatever reason something comes up on title, the title is clouded, I'm not able to get, equitable title. Will the EMD be returned? And he said, we cannot guarantee that.
Are
That's what
they
the lender.
stalling a real estate owned sale, or are they stalling a foreclosure or something?
Not yet at this point, but that's what exactly what they're telling me. They said, look, Sean, if we don't, it's easier for us almost to go the foreclosure route. We don't have to worry about deposits, because that's what they're saying. At a I'm in Hawaii, actually, in a local foreclosure auction, you got to give 10% down.
Are payments being made? Are mortgage payments being made, or are they paused?
Everything's delinquent. The seller's passed away,
Okay.
and there's no others. So it's accruing interest and late penalties, etc. But that's just something that I wasn't comfortable doing, as far as putting that amount of deposit down with no guarantee that I could get returned if the court, for whatever reason, doesn't approve the sale. That's just $7,500. So again, the special administrator said he'd be happy with $100 EMD.
Well, if
But
the
all of a
lender, if the lender, if you can close before there's a foreclosure sale or an REO sale, then the lender should have no say in the terms of your deal. If this is contingent on the lender delaying a sale, then that's why they have a say. If they're saying, hey, we're not going to delay the sale unless we see these terms, $7,500 non-refundable deposit, then that's where they're involved. But I have no idea why they would be involved unless unless this is contingent on them agreeing to delay a foreclosure sale.
No, we're not even at that point. Here in Hawaii, it takes a long time for the foreclosure to go through. So there's not even been a commissioner assigned yet. Once a commissioner is assigned, then it's usually about a month and a half out before the foreclosure auction. So yeah, I'm trying to put all the pieces together as well. It's a good deal. It's a great deal. I know the lien's being paid off. I don't understand how the lenders are the ones making all these demands. And yeah, the special administrator, I can tell that he's never done a sale, a private sale. I mean, the only thing he's accustomed to is just seeing the property along to foreclosure. So he's never done this before either. But again, I've done probably 3 other deals where I've never even spoken with the lender. It's not up to the lender. The lender's not involved at all, as long as he's being paid off. So I just kind of wanted to bounce that off you guys and see what, if any, feedback you had. I obviously don't want to piss the lenders off. I mean, they're literally.
And Sean, is it in probate? Is it in probate? Is there a probate
Yeah.
attorney? So is there a probate attorney, or is in addition to the special administrator, or is he handling that role?
No, there's a separate probate attorney. I have not gotten in touch with him.
Boy, that's what I would do and say, hey, what's going on here? This guy's overstepping. He's really overstepping his role. Can you help me? That'd be my first call.
That would be my second.
It might be the client leaning on the lender to get him the information. I mean, you might want to tell the guy, like, you can make this decision without asking the lender. I mean, maybe it is just the fact that he's so unconfident because he's never had a sale before, that he's looking for somebody to guide him, and he doesn't feel comfortable telling you, like, hey, I don't know what to do. I need someone to help me. So
let the probate attorney step in and assure him that everything's okay.
I did tell him that. Because again, I've done deals like this before, and I said, look, as a special administrator, you have the authority to accept this offer. It's not up to the lender. He wasn't comfortable with that, number one. And then number two, when I speak with the lenders, I mean, they are really portraying that they're the ones who have the authority. Because originally I sent in the offer. The special administrator said, yes, it looks good. Let me send it to the lender. The lender is the one who got back via the special administrator saying that, oh, we're going to have to change this and this and this in the offer. I asked for a payoff statement because originally what I'm looking at, it looks like there's a lot less owed on the mortgage. But when they got back to me, they brought it up about $30,000. So I asked them for a payoff statement. I said, "Hey, can you show me how much is due on the loan?" The lender wouldn't provide me with that. So it just seems a little fishy. I mean, it is a local bank, a small time bank, and I'm standardly dealing with the larger banks as far as the foreclosures. But I just didn't see how the lender has, and I asked for something in writing. The only thing they did was give a phone message back to the special administrator saying, "Here's what we require." So I sent a message directly to the lender's attorney, who's the one making these demands, saying, "Hey, can you please give me everything in writing so I can make sure to include it in my adjusted purchase contract?" They wouldn't put anything in writing. They could only call me over the phone. And they even said it was somewhat sketchy that it's like, "Look, we're not supposed to be negotiating with you. Therefore, we don't want to give you anything in writing. We're just telling you over the phone what's required for us to approve the sale." So it's like,
I would say Jim is right. I mean, you have an attorney, they probably want to get the case handled as well. So if there's somebody interfering with that, get their opinion. Maybe they could even write a letter to the bank,
So contact the probate attorney is what you guys are advising.
And if the probate attorney doesn't play with you, get your own attorney involved to write a letter to the bank. Now, a couple of things I want to help avoid. It's really unlikely that you're going to run into this again, but I would. So you kind of told the administrator that I've done this before. This is not common. And he started throwing up resistance. So the first thing that I would do is I would validate. Oh, okay, it sounds like you talked to the bank. I'd validate him, pile on the praise. Hey, really good job. I'd try to get face to face. Hey, whether this works out or not, why don't we connect sometime? Let me take you out for a beer. Let me grab you a coffee. Let me grab you a lunch. Get to know him, and then when you've got a little bit of space, it could be on the same call, it could be a different meeting. Get a little bit of space. Now you start educating, because it sounds like an uneducated administrator. So you start educating, and then say, "Hey, if I could work this out." Because I don't see why the lender needs to be involved. If I could find a way that this legally gets worked out, would be open to putting a deal together without the lender. Yes.
So I just want to, I mean, that's what I'm trying to confirm here, if that is even possible. I mean, obviously the only criteria of the lender is that they need to be paid off. But other than that, as far as you guys are telling me, they have no say in what the offer amount is, what the terms are, what the deposit is, etc.
If they're getting paid before a foreclosure sale, they shouldn't have any say, and they're getting paid their balance.
This is a pretty smart crew here. Beside the coaches, I'm seeing a half a dozen comments from everybody saying, "Yeah, they're overstepping. They have no business doing that." So, yeah, it doesn't make sense what the guy's doing. It really doesn't.
All right. Well, that's good. Yeah, I'll try to follow that advice. One more small little tangent here on this same case. What the special administrator is telling me is that he will have to put a motion into the court to change his position from a special administrator to the PR in order to accept the offer and get the sale done. Again, I've done other deals with the special administrator where that was not required. And not that I mind going through that process, but I know it's just another few week time frame that I'm gonna have to wait for that motion to go through court. Is that accurate, what he's saying?
Possibly. A lot of it depends. Let me go to this really quickly. Are there minors involved in this in the estate?
No.
Supposedly
they've reached out to any heirs. There's no one on the will. It was intestate. No one's responded to them. Therefore, the attorney and the lenders, I'm sorry, this administrator and the lender's attorney are telling me that there's no one involved in the estate that will put up any fuss, and that they're clear to sell.
Okay. Yep. Talk to the attorney, get the attorney involved, and if he won't help, then get your own attorney involved.
Okay. Yeah, he said he had to change his position to a PR in order to get this sale through. I'm just like, I mean, I didn't want to tell him how to do his job, but I've been through deals where that's the first I've ever heard in regards to that.
Wendy just chatted in something good. By the way, Realtor at eXp Realty, I'm not sure who you are. You've got a lot of good comments. Wendy's had some really good comments. I just want to acknowledge you guys. Wendy said, ask him why he needs to change it to PR. So I'm going to recommend using the Socratic method with this, where you just sort of delicately find out why to everything. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Very curious. Instead of, I don't understand why. Be really curious. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Is there another way to do this? Or why do we need to do that? And just really curious. And a lot of people that think that they know. This sounds like the Dunning-Kruger effect in full force, where the less someone knows, the more they think they know. And so I would just kind of, out of curiosity, question a few things and get him to go, yeah, I don't know. And if you can get a couple of things of, yeah, I don't know, you might be able to say, hey, look, do you mind if I look for an answer to that?
Yeah.
And now you've got influence, and now you start to become the coach for the administrator.
Right, in a gentle way. No, I think it's a good idea to get in touch with the probate attorney as well, get his feedback on it, and then I can feed that info from the probate attorney over to the special administrator, even let him know that I got in touch with him in a gentle way, of course.
Please, and let us know next week the outcome, please.
All right, I will do, guys. Thank you very much for those answers.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John.
Jump to Roger, and then we'll close. We're way over time, but that's okay. Good stuff,
All
guys.
right. We hadn't lost too many people yet.
Yeah.
We will when Roger chimes in, everyone's going to drop. Go ahead,
everybody hang up right away. Go ahead, Roger.
I'll keep it short. I think you've got y'all. I think whoever's, if there's equity involved, where's the equity going to be? Otherwise, be satisfied as because you're representing yourself as the buyer, and that's what the bank doesn't want to talk to you, because you're not representing anybody except yourself. Mm-hmm. And so I think Bruce has given some really good ideas on how to schmooze the administrator, but if there's market value involved that's over and above the bank loan, then that needs to go to whoever the heirs are in that. And we've talked about who the heirs are and what's going to happen. So that I think that we've all got that. It's taken its course, and I think the language that Bruce has given you is really positive. The only thing I wanted to say to kind of cap things off is a lot of new people in here in the industry are looking at the desperately holding on or trying to get that first deal. Is please remember that your ROI on each one of these deals that you work for your clients is, and your commissions is where you get your ROI in being in the business. And I think that the ROI is exceptional, and you don't have to have 15 or 20 closes or clients a month. You can settle in on 2 or 3 and maybe even several more coming down the pike. Look at the ROI and don't look at the number of transactions. The number of transactions can be minimal and have a great return on investment in what you're paying for and paying you for your time. That's all I had to mention right there. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Well said, my friend. Great way
Thanks,
to end
Roger.
the call. Bruce, anything you want to go over before I close?
Nope. I appreciate everybody for hanging with us long.
Yep. One of the longest. Well, no, it's not the longest. With Richard Group, I think that was the longest. So thank you for being on our second longest call ever. Appreciate everybody hanging in there. I want to sincerely thank all of you for being here today. Particularly thank the number of people that actively participated. And as I always do, I want to challenge each of you, take one idea, just one thing that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice. And please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Have a great week, everybody. Same time next Thursday. Take care.